casino, it sinks, sort of like an underground nuclear blast. And I thought to myself, that's probably what it was. And I thought that they weren't doing that anymore, but it didn't surprise me. I mean, you're talking to somebody and people have been in that, and when you see somebody's head blown off, I mean, you're so used to seeing dramatic things. It wasn't even an afterthought when you seen that happen, because you've seen it so much. And anyway, there was 2 entrance holes, and these things came out of the holes shaking like a dog kind of does when he's wet, and they shook off the dust. And I thought, God, how can they survive? And I found out later that some scientists had decided, got a wild hair and decided we're going to take one of these anti-gravity units apart. And it exploded with a yield of about 6 kilotons. And that's what I had saw. And some Jeeps came up there and they had tails. And they look like lizards, only their face was flat. And the picture that you've got up on your website pretty much spells it out. It's almost, I could almost swear you've seen one before.
Yeah, the one that's playing in our movie section?
Well, yeah, the one that you have on the website there where you select the show you want to hear.
Yeah, right. That's the movie player, yeah.
That pretty much is about the closest I've ever seen to a fictional drawing of one to it being the real deal. Because they don't look like monsters as you would believe them to look like, and that is sort of the unshockable part of it, because they are not going to look like Godzilla. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to scare you. They're going to scare you. Some people will die from fear, I believe, from it. I can promise you, and I'm not afraid to say this, but I wet my pants. And it took me, and when you're in that area, you don't get a chance. You can't talk to nobody. You're isolated totally. I had favorite rocks that I even took and painted faces on with lead off the end of my bullets on certain rocks that were white, and I would have conversations with these freaking rocks because I was so lonely. And so once in a while, you would look through your rifle scope, scan in the area, and you'd see another guy, and you would learn how to read lips, because you, even so much as a whisper, I don't know how they do it, but they just know everything you're doing. I mean, I'd come in for the night sometimes, or sometimes I'd be out there for 3 or 4 days, and when I'd come in, they'd know exactly where I've been. And if I'd said anything, who were you talking to? Why did you say this while I was talking to the rocks? You're an idiot. Yeah, I know. I am. But you got to really be careful and play that game. If you don't play that game, you're game. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist, nor does it take a Christian, to figure out that the dead zone also means you. Because you have somebody checking on you, and so that somebody's being checked on by somebody, and so on and so on and so on. How deep it goes, I don't know. But it goes deep. Everybody knows everything about everybody, and you learn how to be really, really, really stealthy on the way you speak. They even had people watching you to see if there was any regular patterns with the way you used your hand motions and stuff, like you were trying to get something to somebody else. It was really a terrible way to live. But I can tell you that when I seen it, it took me 2 or 3 weeks and to overcome it, and the other agent, the other snipers that I ran into occasionally would just, as we passed each other, would murmur a few words, and one time it took 3 days of a word here and a word there, and then I put the whole thing together to make one sentence, that they seen the same thing I did, and you have no idea what kind of I just don't know how to describe how it makes you. I just can't describe it.
All right. Hey, everyone who just tuning in, we are talking with Lieutenant Colonel SC. We have kept his name off the website there for security purposes. We are talking about abductions and UFOs, and of course we opened up with the information about the Stephenville mile-long UFO. If you have a question for tonight's guest, go to the edgem.com website. Join us in the live chat going on right now, or send a question through to the Fast Blast. Lieutenant Colonel, at any time when you were dealing with these reptilians, did they ever attack you?
No. No, I've never been attacked by one.
And you say that, did you see them literally change from a reptilian to a human?
Both ways, yes, I did. And what made me realize how spiritual it was that their clothes didn't rip off like you see in the movies, and they didn't drool and dribble all over the place. It was a very clean-looking thing. Their clothes would sort of just fade away and fade back on. They're demons. I mean, I was told that by non-believing military. I mean, these people know the Bible better than most pastors. That's because God is their enemy. The people that you vote for, Benjamin Bugosu, I believe it was him, or Charles Pretlow or somebody, said that we probably need to repent for voting. I believe that's true. Voting isn't a right anymore. I said on a show the other day that it's a wrong. Mm-hmm. I believe, there is no lesser of two evils because they all have the same agenda. Mm-hmm. So why would you want to put your John Hancock in on any of them? Mm-hmm. Not me.
Is Hillary Clinton a reptilian?
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
So you don't have any trouble, after you've seen what you've seen, you don't have any trouble to point out or believe or even speculate that different people are reptilians. But can you identify them in a crowd?
No, I can't.
So how do you know they are reptilians? Is that because you catch them shape-shifting?
Some of them but some of it on documents and people that are so deep in that these guys, some people I know, believe it or not, in these ages, there's good people in them. And they're born-again, die-hard Christians. That if it weren't for them, we wouldn't even have this knowledge. That leak this out, and we must pray for them every day that they don't die and get killed in the process. They have families, too. But some of them have been in so long and know that they have to be so prayed up and so upright as they can be that I really believe that some of them are incapable of telling lies. That's how strong I believe my contacts. And I've weeded out the ones that gibber too much. And when I came out, the best thing I found to do was to gibber a lot and get people to discredit yourself as much as you could at one time. And number one, it helped you to relieve the pain of what you saw and knew. And number two, for an example, my debriefing was simply this. I mean, it was so short, it was shocking. It was, go ahead and tell a lie. You've seen a lot, you've done a lot. Mm-hmm. You know this, you know that. So go ahead and tell a lie. And, hey, maybe you'll be a good read anyway.
We have numbers of questions, Lieutenant Colonel, for you, and we'll start with this one. What orders and directions was the Reptilians giving to the military general?
It depended on what the outcome they wanted was. Sort of like, for an example, the Battle of Fallujah. That was a total reptilian-controlled thing. And I can't go into too much detail about that out there for fear that, in other words, it wouldn't take long for some people to put some things together to find out who said what. But they were in charge of the Jessica Lynch story, and I never got